I was the type of person that back when I was drinking is I would tell myself again and again and again that this is the last day. I'd wake up with that hangover where, you're waking up and all you want to do is drink like a pint of water because you're just dehydrated and your throat is dry. And then you kind of stumble around and you just like, you can't really remember what's happened that night. And the anxiety's there throughout the day. And I would wake up those mornings and I'd be like this, what the hell's just happened? Never again, never again, never again. I am not joking. I must have told myself that 500 times. In my life, 500 times, if not more. Because I woke up with some serious hangovers, some serious bad mood. And I've told myself that that's it, I'm done. Again and again and again and again. The problem with this was that I didn't really have a system to follow. I wasn't saying that, okay, I'm going to change the way I view alcohol. I'm going to start seeing it as a different thing. I'm going to read, I'm going to learn, I'm going to really apply myself, and then I'm going to go towards something new. I didn't do that. I just said, okay, never again. Then I'd go back out, I'd start seeing my friends drinking, or I'd see a commercial, a TV advertisement. I'd see alcohol as a good thing. I'd see my favorite character drink it in Game of Thrones or whatever. And I'm buying back into the illusion of it being a good thing. I didn't change my worldview. So every single time that I said to myself that I was going to stop drinking, it ended the exact same place. These decisions would last a few hours, maybe a few days, maybe a few weeks, but most of the time I'd be out drinking that same night. I'd promised to myself, that's it, Leon, never again. Yet, 3 hours later, I've already backed down on that promise. And I've done that more times than I can count. Now, also during university was a time that I relapsed a lot. And whilst I was at university, the periods where I told myself, where I'd say, that's it, I'm not drinking, they sometimes would last a few weeks, sometimes a few months. But it was still that roller coaster living. I never made the decision to be a non-drinker. I never said, okay, I'm going to move towards something better. I'd just say, right, Leon, finished, done, willpower, nothing else, grit through it for a few months and then back in the same cycle again. And university was a very up and down time for me as well. I did go to university a little bit later. I was in my mid-20s when I started my degree. And, same kind of thing. It was like, Leon, you're not going to drink. Boom. And even during university, I actually stopped drinking for 9 months. Again, with nothing but willpower. I basically, and I know I've told you guys this story many times, but I woke up after being sick on a MacBook Pro and I'd actually thrown up blood. I destroyed this computer. And it was at that point where I said, Leon, we're not drinking anymore. And I've already told myself that a million times. But because I was in such a bad place, it was quite easy to stop drinking. And I basically went through it for 9 months. Then there was a time where the willpower ran out and I ended up drinking again. It was at a New Year's Eve party. I've told you guys this a million times. I won't go into it now. But basically, the problem with all of these relapses were 3 key things. 1 was believing that I was the problem. 2 was believing that alcohol was still a good thing. So when the willpower ran out, I was still seeing it as a good thing, so I ended up drinking it again. And the 3rd thing was not making an all-in decision, right? Saying to myself, okay, I'm not going to drink anymore. That's very different to making a 1,000,000,000% decision saying, I am done for the rest of my life, I'm finished. And I never did that. I kind of made these half-committed, I'm not drinking again. That kind of half commitment. It's a little bit like going to the squat rack or the bench press or doing an exercise in the gym and taking it off the rack and then going, it's too heavy, putting it back, right? That's what I was like. Rather than picking it up and just going for it and just saying, I'm doing this no matter what, whatever happens, happens. I never did that with alcohol.